Hello everyone, I'm very happy to be here with you today. I'm responsible for digital marketing at the global level within Acer. And my challenge today will be mostly to bring a marketer's perspective and on all this digital disruption and how as marketers we're trying to cope with this change, and obviously give some insights about my personal view on how CMOs should work together with CIOs, and more broadly how these two roles have changed dramatically over the past few years. So I start by framing the scenario we're living in today, and I mean this might look at some sort of oversimplifications, but I truly believe that there are two underlying key disruption factors that are tightly interconnected to one another. The first of all, obviously, is technological acceleration, and we spend some time on that, which in a way has induced a completely different consumer behavior that has radically changed the way people relate with brands and buy their products and services. So starting from the technological acceleration, I think I'm really not teaching anyone anything here today. I think that we all will recognize the completely different pace and acceleration that technology has delivered in the last few years. If you took, for example, the time that the printing press took to actually change the world, we're talking about a few centuries. If you think about the steam engine, it was a few decades. And now if you think about the internet, if you think about social media, really change happens at the rhythm of a few years, in some cases even just a few months, as industries are really disrupted and taken out by storm. And this is especially true for us. If you look at Gartner's hype cycle for disrupting technologies in the technology area, so all the trends that are really disrupting technology, you really see that probably this is one of the most crowded hype cycles out there. So I just circled in red some of the technologies that are really changing Acer's industry, consumer electronics. If you think about the connected home, Internet of Things, wearables, augmented and virtual reality, all these technologies are really changing our core business to a point that our competitors have already grasped this opportunity. If you look at what Dell and Asus have already announced, the competition around, for example, virtual reality is already ramping up quite rapidly, with Dell and Asus offering VR-ready computers for less than $1,000, and Intel, obviously, which is our strongest partner, working on chipsets and more in general enabling technologies to leverage all this innovation. And this obviously for marketers is a huge challenge because obviously we're not technology people, yet we are confronted with this kind of complexity. So we are asked to really work with a number of exponentially increasing solution providers, which mostly provide technologies. I'm talking about advertisement delivery networks, demand-side platforms, real-time marketing platforms, and then going back, newsletter platforms and whatsoever. So I think we are really targeted from all directions in terms of we are being proposed to work with vendors and to adapt technologies that obviously we don't fully understand, and yet we have to deliver to the rest of the company and the core business the marketing solutions to actually be able to win more customers in an increasingly competitive marketplace. So I think this, again, is just to touch base on one of the first areas where I think there is a strong connection, a strong bond between the technology function and the marketing function is exactly here. So really, I believe most of the value can be found in healthy relationship between marketers and their IT colleagues in terms of cutting through the noise and understanding which of all these technologies are actually helpful to the business, and those that can actually be disregarded as more background noise rather than delivering true value. And to wrap up this section about technology, I'd like to just quickly quote William Gibson, an author that I particularly love. And he basically said, that when we talk about the future, we say, change is coming, digital is coming. Actually, I believe that change has already happened in many ways. If you look at some industries, for example, the travel industry was really the first to be completely disrupted and taken by storm from digital. Then it came down to music. And then there are other industries that will be disrupted or are just starting to be disrupted, like if you think about real estate or that kind of more brick and mortar industries, obviously will be disrupted later on. But this is a strong signal that this change has happened. It's just not evenly distributed across, I would say, all industries, all countries, but it will be. So it's just a matter of preparing and be ready for each and every one of us in our industries, be ready for when the change will be already completely, I would say, 100% done within that industry, be one of the players that actually leverage the wave and catch the wave in the right time instead of follow everyone else's later on. And then back to the second disruptor factor. I believe that all this technological acceleration allowed consumers to relate with brands in a completely different manner. So we as marketers liked very much this kind of slides with a very linear purchase journey where consumers go through awareness, consideration, purchase, service, loyalty, and they go through all this funnel following a very linear series of touch points, from PR to newsletter to the branded website to social media to a display campaign, whatever, and then we gently drive them down to the funnel. Well, actually, this is definitely a dream, but the reality looks more like this kind of very circular and complicated maze, where actually consumers follow an absolutely non-linear pathway to purchase. And this process happens also in what Google calls micromoments. So, the research they did tells us that smartphone owners on average look at their phone 150 times a day. No, so we are talking about very short and also, I would say, not really deep interactions with their smartphones. And these interactions often bring, a quick glimpse on Google Maps, a quick glimpse on the email, a quick Google search for a brand or for a product. And all these activities obviously last just a few minutes, if not just a few seconds. And brands have very little time to be relevant in these micro moments. But those micro moments are exactly the moments where the customer opinion about whether or not to buy a given product or service is formed. And so it's extremely important for us to be there and be relevant. And finally, this journey is absolutely cross-device. So consumers start their journeys on the smartphones, then they continue the same journey while they are at the office on the PC that is provided by the company. And then at the end of the day, maybe they continue the journey about the same product on a tablet while they are on the sofa at home. So how do we track our consumer across all these different devices? How do we make sure that our, for example, display campaigns are targeting the same customer with a consistent message? And all these questions obviously have underlying technology solutions behind. But again, for marketers, it's quite complicated to grasp all the complexity and really how to leverage this. So I think that if you look at what we need to do to really win customers in this changed ecosystem, we need to be more personal and individually tailor our messaging to each and every customer. So I believe that the traditional rule-based marketing that we have been using for quite some time now based on personas, based on segmenting the audience, worked so far because it delivered a good enough level of segmentation, but it's not definitely enough anymore to win our consumers today. So what we need today is actually to what I call the scaled relevance, to be able to deliver a message that actually appears really delivered one-to-one, like if it was in the B2B world where we actually know all our customers by name, etc. So deliver that kind of familiar and personal feeling, but at scale. So not just for a few hundred or thousand customers, but actually for millions of customers. And obviously to do that, we need to completely pivot the company. And to pivot the company, we hear a lot, talking marketers and we say the whole company about digital transformation. But here I would like to immediately make a clear distinction between, digital transformation and business transformation, because I believe that digital transformation, at least in my opinion, I worked in the past at Vodafone, now I am at Acer in both companies. I worked and led the transformation initiatives.